I had a few questions here I'd like to ask you because I think it's powerful to share, and especially for what you were sharing with me last week, for things that are really happening in your life. So, when I'm looking at from my perspective of you and your life, we haven't met in person. We're pretty far away from each other, yet you're the one that's doing the work and having the progress. I'm the one who kind of gets to be here to witness it and maybe ask some questions that make you think a little bit. But one thing that came to mind is, how long did you know about this program before you decided to take a chance on it?
So I first heard about it from my brother-in-law in January 2022. Uh, I had massive reservations. As you are well aware, my biggest source of reservation was not the fact that it would work in terms of weight loss. My reservation was in terms of the longevity of the program, whether it can convert into a temporary program into a lifestyle which is more permanent and has more meaning in somebody's life, and whether once the weight is off, it can stay off. Those were my reservations. I was very, 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 very proud of him when he achieved the results that he wanted to, because we've both battled with weight the entire 20 plus years that I've known him. And eventually, I think in Feb of 23 is when I got to the point of, this works, and I deserve to live that life as well. And of course, looking at his pictures really helped get me to
Sure.
take the plunge.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the long answer to your short question.
Yeah, well, it was pretty direct. I mean, that's one whole year.
Yeah.
And when we speak to people and they may not be ready yet, that's natural. I mean, not everybody's like, yeah, sounds great, let's do it. We know that
Yeah.
every month that goes by, it's like, damn, if you only knew where you could be now when we first spoke, but that's okay. But you said something interesting where you felt like you're glad you waited because you yourself weren't really ready for that change anyway. You came kind of
Yeah.
when you felt you were ready, and that was 13 months later. So if you could touch on that for a moment, because there's plenty of people I think that might beat themselves up a little bit for not starting when they first found out for what they experienced. You said something that was quite calm and nicely mannered. So
I think I don't mind that I waited because my belief in the program at the moment is sky high. Of course, the fact that I've dropped 2 clothes sizes in 11 weeks, the fact that I've dropped 13 kgs, and that I have not felt better is a huge boost. But having waited the 13 months and seeing, like we were discussing, the longevity of it, to just see the transition from it being just a program to lose weight to a lifestyle change where where not only does the weight stay off, but the energy levels stay up, the hormone levels stay regulated, etc., has been, I mean, to me, that belief was more important, number one. Number two, so from a logical point of view, that's why I feel that it's better to have waited, because now I know that it not only works in the short term, it works in an extended long term as well. The other thing is, I feel that change comes when you're ready. To jump into something, it will be temporary if I myself am not convinced that this is a change or this is a transition that I deserve. I deserve to be at this place. If I'm not at that place mentally, uh, anything that I do will be transient. But I got to the point where I was not willing to accept who I was anymore. And that has been my biggest. So I'm at peace with the fact that it didn't start because he asked me to do it with him.
yeah,
And I'm sure it would have been great, but at the time as well. But I think that this 1 year allowed me to get to know myself a little bit better,
okay.
to get to the place where I was absolutely ready to jump in with both feet and stay in it for the ride.
It's great. Thank you for that. And something that just stuck out to me is, at what point did you feel like you couldn't accept who you were anymore, or the position that you were in, I think is what you just
Uh,
said. It's like,
yeah, so when I speak to a lot of people, they think that I was overreacting to the size that I was. But in my head, uh, I wasn't who I wanted to be anymore, that I'd let myself go. I had not prioritized myself in a very, very long time.
mhm,
The needs of the family, the needs of the job, the children, they always tend to come first. And I just not spent any time on myself. And I'd gotten to the point where I would hate getting my picture taken. I was looking for a picture of myself, of me and the kids, and I couldn't find one. In the
wow,
last 2 years, I couldn't find a single picture of myself with my children. And I was super conscious of the way I looked. I was super sensitive about any comments about my weight. I had gotten to the point where I would dread getting dressed up to go out because nothing fit the way I'd like it. I mean, of
hmm,
course, things fit, but the picture that I had of myself in my head and what was looking back at me in the mirror was so divergent
yep.
that it just caused me an immense, immense amount of self doubt. Uh, of just that sheer lack of confidence is
Can
something
you
that
can you remember
was
what that feels like when as you're speaking about it? Do you have a feeling in your body and or anywhere that has a memory to that?
my gut, solar
Wow.
plexus.
Yeah.
It is a physical feeling, and to be honest, Evan, I don't want to let it go because
Yep.
uh, not entirely. Because while I'm loving the way my body is right now, I think acknowledging that it was still me, just a different shape,
Hmm.
uh, is also a form of self-acceptance, which
Hmm.
it was still me.
Yep.
And it's that me that decided to do something about it.
Yeah.
So,
It's
there
part of the
is not,
journey as well. It's good to
it's
remember
not,
the pain as well. It'll help you gain desire to keep striving forward because
yeah,
this longevity approach, like this, I would say tool, this system that you were kind of introduced to does have longevity to it because you're applying yourself to the habit formation and awareness. But in that attempt, life still comes at us from every angle.
yeah,
We have a good structure, but it's always good to remember where you came from, so you can always measure back to see how far you come, but also keep working forward to like evolve forward because this version of you is the version of you now, the version of you 6 months from now. If you're in the exact same position that you're in right now, that's fantastic. But I
yeah,
think you're going to keep moving forward. And that kind of leads me into my next point about what you said about exercise. I think was like, it made my heart happy. Now I know what my mentor is talking about. More, we want to live more moments that make your heart smile. And that made mine smile because I just know that there's just too many people out there on a treadmill right now, hoping that tomorrow they wake up a half a kg lighter. And that would be like, oh, it's going to be a better day, which I find is like just detrimental to any form of health. And now
yeah.
you're taking strides to exercise in a different kind of way. Can you explain the difference between a year ago versus now, or like 3 months ago versus now?
So I wouldn't say I am manic about exercising. I have always done exercises in bursts. So I've done, I had a trainer 2 years ago, and I did that manically for about 7 months. I have had, like, I've done yoga intermittently always. The last time I did yoga concentrated was when I was pregnant, the second time. I have been dabbling with exercise on and off. When I do it incessantly. When I don't, I just don't. Not the healthiest way of living. But the only reason it has been intermittent is I will give it my 1000%
Mm-hmm.
and then not get the results. The image in the mirror doesn't shift towards the image. I'm sorry, had not got the results. The
Right.
image in the mirror didn't shift to the image in my head. And then I'd get frustrated, I'd get upset, I'd lose interest, I'd go back to binging. It was just a very self-destructive spiral that would happen every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Today, the mirror is far exceeds my expectations. Uh, and so I restarted yoga for the simple reason that my energy levels were really high
Mm-hmm.
with the program. And I just felt that, at my age, it would be a good idea to go back and see what's the kind of flexibility I still, because
Right.
what's the flexibility I have, what is my endurance, etc. And I really find the practice of yoga very, very challenging, but not harmful to the joints. And, in
Right.
that respect, very holistic practice. And I went back to my yoga, I restarted my yoga practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not have words for how much I enjoyed it, because it's the first time in my life that I did it to nourish my body, to nurture my body, to feel the endorphins, to feel the pleasure of being able to stay just a little bit longer in that stretch,
Yeah.
just to do two more breaths in that stretch, and not be thinking about, oh my God, the other yogis in the class would be looking at me and thinking she doesn't deserve to be here,
Right.
or not have the track in my head of, I hope this helps me lose that one little kg and that I will fit into this dress that I've always wanted to wear. Because that wasn't in my head. It was in
Right.
the moment, enjoying the lesson, enjoying the practice, enjoying the stretch, enjoying the burn of the muscle, and
Yeah.
just uh, feeling like my actions are nurturing me, mind, body, and soul, and just not a way to feel less bad about myself. And that, I think, has been my biggest gift.
Yeah. Just
Uh,
about to use that word. That is a gift. That's a fantastic way to describe some exploration of your physical body. And it just really makes me think of how much time is being spent by people not experiencing themselves that way. And that's a big mission of mine. And to be frank, if you came to me before I was using this program to help people, we would be doing some strength training, and I would be teaching you about calories and all that stuff in our best approach to stay motivated for a long time to achieve I would say a fraction of what you're experiencing now. So this is the leading way to allow people to find what it is they enjoy again, because it wouldn't have been yoga with me, just because that's not what I do. I tend to do different forms of exercise that feed my soul and passion as well. So I'm just happy for you. That's all I can say. And it's just really fun to be a part of your journey. I have a lot of faith that we're going to keep exploring as we learn, as we go forward. We have a great framework around how to use nutrients, and that takes a lot of guesswork out. They're still learning along the way, but it's the reflection. It's moments like this that I think bring a lot of joy and gratitude, which is huge for the cells in your body. And I just have one more question for you. What if you could look back, and you kind of touched on it already about not letting go of that feeling, but if you were in a room with 8 to 10 ladies around your age who very likely were experiencing sort of the life that you're experiencing, maybe not outwardly speaking it or open to sharing it, but deep down they were, what how would you what would you say to them about what you've gone through and what kind of chance they could take on themselves to experience something new in their life?
I think uh, the one thing that I would say is transformation is there, it's in your grasp, it is real, and it's not elusive. It's there for everybody. Sometimes taking the chance on yourself is really scary. And this could apply to everything. It applies not only to losing weight or being in the best physical shape, but unfortunately, that is the barometer by which most of us judge ourselves. And uh, that transformation exists. But I think a lot of times we're all just so scared of failing that we're not willing to reach out for it.
Yes.
And it is available, and all you got to do is trust yourself and know that you deserve it. And that would be my one message.
Thank you. That was very nicely described. I'm wondering, when you say that, to trust yourself, how much they might have tried in the 10, 15, 20 years previous to trust themselves, but with each burst of exercise and perceived failure, they might lose that confidence. You know, why would they find, where would they find that trust? Pray for it? Good. Where would that trust come from? Because you gain trust from your brother-in-law, his
Yeah.
journey, and you're an inspirational story yourself. Which that's why we're doing this. There's so many stories to write out there, but if nobody shares their own story, so many people will miss out. So can you speak to that potential lack of confidence in trusting yourself?
I think that there are many avenues where the trust is, or where you could reach out and you could trust people. And that's why I don't want to limit the transformation to weight loss.
Hmm.
Uh, Weight loss is, as the life book says as well, weight loss is an added bonus of this journey. It's an added, it's a
Byproduct.
hook, so
Yeah,
to
it's a
speak,
hook. It is definitely a
of,
hook,
yeah, of the.
and it's a great hook.
But I think that the transformation happens at many levels when one undertakes this program. And the trust can only and only come from, like you said, from stories. The stories that you see around you, the stories that you hear, the stories that, and these are real life stories. They're not marketing. They're not somebody creating a video and putting it somewhere. These are real life stories that are happening in your experience, in your diaspora, in the people that you know. And that's where the trust comes from, because when you see it happening for your friend, for your neighbor, for your, for somebody in your family, that is when that fear of why won't it work for me
Yeah,
can be taken. And it's not an easy journey. I mean, I wouldn't say that the last few weeks or the last few weeks have been easy. I've traveled, I've had events, I've had birthdays I've had festivals in the house, and it's been
thank
a
you for
hard.
sharing that. Thank you for sharing that.
Like, it's not sunshine and roses. It is sacrifice, and it is a commitment, and it takes effort to
Yeah.
stay committed. And I've been sick in the last 11 weeks. I've had, uh as I shared, we went on a vacation for 2 weeks. My mother was devastated that the only thing I had was salad while we were on our holiday. But uh, there's expectations of the people around you. The people around you don't always want you to succeed, not in the best way.
Sure.
Uh, but I mean, not out of any kind of malice, but everybody likes status quo. And
It's
I
not easy
think,
to break through that matrix. That's how I'm
yeah,
seeing this. Some people slip through that, and it is that hook of, you know, in the disclaimer, results not typical, but very typical. Couple 3 kg in that first week is always a nice win. And scientifically, yeah, it's definitely water retention that's being stripped, but we get into the body fat very efficiently, and that's a nice win. Then all those things start to occur. The avenues of trust start to come to you in different ways, and that could stem from your lineage of genetics, your culture around you, like just a bunch of different ways of positivity and belief. So thank you for sharing that it's not easy, because anything worth having should take some sacrifice. If it was easy,
I
everybody be as
also
fit as
think
a
that
fiddle.
every kg is great motivation.
Yeah.
Somebody once said to me that the biggest block to huge success is little success.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't know why it's been playing on my mind a lot since I started. And every single time I have wanted to say, you know what, I've lost 5 kgs. I could possibly have a little bit of food today, and this quote has stayed with me. Because and then of course, every time you drop a size, that's motivation to keep
Heck
moving
yeah.
on.
One good thing leads to more. Absolutely.
I
That's
think that
fantastic.
for me personally, it's been a push and a pull.
Mhm.
Pull towards where I want to be, but also push from where I was. And the two together, I think has really helped me stay the course so far.
That's a
And
very,
a few
very good
more to
insight.
go.
That's a great insight. And I think a lot of your journey has to do with the fact that you're already helping people as a nutritionist and like, from what I know, like sort of psychologist as well, right? Like, what is your actual role, or what's your title?
I don't have a title, and I don't want a title.
Okay, we won't put a title on you, but you come from a
So
nutritional background as well.
yeah, I do. I'm also an energy healer and a hypnotherapist. Those are my
Okay.
qualifications. And what I do is I work with people with chronic conditions, like diabetes, blood pressure,
Right.
any allergies. I started out with allergies, and those are still the closest to my heart. I can work with most autoimmune conditions. And I work with people who want to use alternative healing, non-invasive healing, to find a solution for the condition. Because a solution does not exist in medicine. Medicine only treats the symptoms, and sometimes management of symptoms takes over the management of the mind in these
Yeah.
conditions.
Yeah.
And so those are the people that I work with, and I do a lot of like a mix of modalities to help them achieve their goals. But that's what I do.
Well, what you said about push and pull is a very, very good insight. And that's something that I've learned in this journey, is that pain, you were in enough pain in some form of fashion to make a choice to start. That was what pushed you into this. And then it's desire that pulls you forward. So you're having these moments of vision of what could be next when you stay the course, and boom, you get there and you hit these, I guess we call it structural tension. You want to be here, but you're here. What do you need to do here to achieve that? And when you do, guess what? That dream becomes a bit bigger. And I know you're going to keep moving forward because you're gaining so much in this journey. We love to talk about the gains. I haven't even asked you how much you actually lost in terms of, I like to call it dirty weight, just weight that you don't want to have on you. What's your total over the last 11 weeks? Now almost 12.
13 kgs at the moment.
Amazing.
As of this morning.
How does that feel?
Incredible. Like I was telling somebody yesterday, I would spend an hour in my cupboard thinking, man, this doesn't fit. This doesn't fit. This looks awful. This looks ugh. I spend an hour in my cupboard even now saying, this is too loose. This looks shabby. I need to get something else because it looks too floppy.
What
And
a gift.
I'm so much happier being on this
That's
end
so
of the
fun.
the other one.
That's such a big one. The clothes is such a big one. The question I ask now when I'm engaging in conversation about what somebody's trying to achieve, I usually ask them, especially for females, how much of your wardrobe do you not fit into the way you like to? What percentage? And usually it's about 80%, 80 to 90%. Like they think of the things that they like to wear, but they won't even try them on. And now you've went past it, and now the stuff that you used to want to wear is now too loose. So that's a different problem. That I'm sure you're.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's fun. I can feel the love and excitement off of most of the people I work with there. So Sonali, thank you so much for your time. It really is a pleasure to engage with people like you. And I'll probably edit this part. I'm going to practice my sign off here. It's been a pleasure, and look forward to catching up with you next week, and see you then.
See you. Bye-bye. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.